what you gonna do when the dew's in town. All right. I heard that recently cremation is preferred over burial. I guess they're thinking outside the box. I like this poem. It's by Robert W. Service. The Cremation of Sam Mcgee. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they've ever seen was the night on the marge of Lake LaBarge I cremated Sam Mcgee. Now Sam Mcgee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows, and why he left his home in the South to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he often said in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. And on Christmas Day we were mushing our way over to Dawson Trail. Talk of cold through the Parker fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. And if our eyes were closed and the lashes froze till sometimes we couldn't see, it wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam Mcgee. And that night, that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel to toe. He turned to me, and Cap, he said, I'd cash in this trip, I guess, and if I do, I'm asking you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low, I couldn't say no, and then he says with a sort of moan, it's cursed cold, and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clear through the bone. Yet 'tis like being dead, it's my awful dread of the icy grave it pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fail, you'll cremate my last remains. Now a pal's last request is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail. And I started on the streak of dawn, but God, he looked awful ghostly pale. He crouched on the sled, and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam Mcgee. And there wasn't a breath in that land of death. I hurried and horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I could not rid, because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you tax my brawn and brains, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate the last remains. Now a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were numb, my heart was dumb and cold. How I cursed that load in the long, lonely night, by the lone firelight, while the huskies round the ring, howling out their woes to the homeless snows. Oh God, how I loathed that thing. And every day that quiet clay seemed heavier and heavier grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in. And I'd often sang to that hateful thing in a heartened grin, till it came to the marge of Lake LaBarge, and the derelict there lay. It was jammed in ice, but I saw it twice. It was called the Alice May. And I looked at it and thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then here I said with a sudden cry, is your and my crematorium. Some planks were tore from the cabin floor and lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found laying round and heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared and the furnace roared, such a blaze seldom seen. I buried a hole in the glowing coals and stuffed in Sam Mcgee. Then I made a hike for I do not like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, and the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled this grisly fair, but the stars came out and they danced around the ear again and ventured near. I was sick with dread and I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside. And I guess he croaked and it was time to look, and then the door flung open wide, and there sat Sam looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile, you could see a mile, and he said, please close the door, it's fine in here, and I greatly fear you'll let the cold and storm in. And since I left Plumtree down in Tennessee, it's the first I've ever been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by men who moil for gold. Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was the night I on Lake LaBarge in the marge I cremated Sam Mcgee. This poem always reminds me of the afternoon I put my mother, Mary Carter, in a cremation furnace and pressed the button and let the roar and watched her disappear. Now before I die, I'm going to eat a whole bag of unpopped popcorn that should make the cremation a little more interesting. 91.5 WRPI Troy, the Everything radio station.